good thing. I can have a,
on the bottom, bottom of that stack.
oh, hey, oh, I thought somebody was coming in. Let me see. I lost, oh, never mind. I lost what I was looking for. Excuse me for that. Sorry about that. Whether we're live, people know I'm real. Okay. Let's call this meeting to order. Okay, can I get an approval of last meeting's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. We had a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I'd like to get a motion to consider the regular meeting's minutes for last meeting.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Smile down there. It's okay. Linda's looking all serious there like, oh, man. Okay. I guess we can start off with the non-action items.
Okay, so I'm going to start this off and then Melinda will actually go through hers. But in front of you are laptops. If you're not aware, we're switching over to, and Commissioner Butcher already knows how to use the system, but we've switched over to an agenda management and meeting management system to where everything's being pushed out electronically. So in order to access that system, let me get queued up here. Of course, this is a different looking computer, but the first thing you need to do, who has a Gmail account? Okay, if you know your Gmail password or email and password, you can log in and it will pull up your Gmail, email, all that good stuff, all of your bookmarks. It should be. If you don't, if you power that thing on, if it's powered off, you see in the upper right hand corner the little power button, but if you look down on the bottom left-hand corner where it says Browse as a Guest, you just click on that, and that will take you to your home screen. Now, what this means is it won't save like any of your bookmarks, menus, or anything like that. It just allows you to browse as a guest, which, if you're comfortable doing it, that's fine. So the first thing that you can do is there's two different ways to interface with this system. I'm going to show you the really easy way first. So you just type in your address, Lovington.org. It'll take you to the city's website. And then over here on the left, we made a couple of changes. We're still updating some stuff, but here is meeting agendas and packets. You click on that, and it takes you to the public interface. Now, all of our previous meetings and packets that were pushed out in the format that we've been using since I believe it was 2014, that's in this archive section. That's not the area you want to go to. So like, for instance, today's meeting is the Youth Center meeting. So you can either download the agenda or click on Online Agenda. If you click on Online Agenda, it takes you to what we call the Novus Agenda site, and it pops up today's agenda. So the neat thing about this is instead of pulling up a 300 or 400 page commission packet, if you just want to view a particular item and its information, you just click on that. So for instance, like the Novus Agenda orientation that we're going through today, it pulls up the staff summary, and it just basically gives you an overview of what we're going to cover. You can easily exit out of that. So program updates and goals, which we'll go over next. Brief summary, and then any attachments we have, you just click on that and it will download that as a PDF as well. Now, if you really want to, you can just go to novusagenda.com/LovingtonNM. Please be right. Okay, yes, what that, daggone. What this does, hold on, let me pull this back up. I got to pull up my, oh, I'm sorry. I got it totally backwards. You go to lovington.novusagenda.com. That's novusagenda.com. So what this will do, one thing that we've got to do is get updated email addresses for everybody. What we'll do, if Brandon wasn't able to do that earlier, you may have gotten a password reset link. And what this will do is you will have your own user ID, which will typically be your first initial followed by your last name. You'll set your own password. Now, so what you'll do is I'm just going to log in on mine. Mine actually has a little bit more features. But what this will allow you to do is look at the agenda and a packet in a different format, and also keep notes and search previous meetings and things like that. So what happens is it will bring you to, actually that's the wrong, yeah, that should be right. What this will do, sorry, that is the main user interface. Let's pull it, Lovington Note, yeah, board web is what I gotta go to. We'll get this bookmarked for you and put it up. novusagenda.com/board-web. That's where we're at. Okay. I apologize. We got to use 2 different web addresses to use this software, unfortunately. Okay, so what we'll do is, for instance, like today, it will automatically pull up the agenda for today. The nice thing about this software is, while we're on this Novus agenda, you can pull this up anywhere. I think you could even pull it up on your phone. I haven't ever really tried that, but what you can do is you can add notes to this. So you would just click View Notes, and then, so we went through this, and James needs to remember this and that. You hit Save. That note is only viewable for you. So if we like table an item, or if you think of items that we need to do follow-up research on, just kind of to jot it down, but that's another way that you can use the software as well. But I think the majority of folks are just going in through the lovington.org. Staff are actually utilizing the board web portal, because we do take a lot more notes, and it also helps us with the minutes preparation. Any questions on Novus? So anywhere you go, you got web access, you can get to it. Now, like Member Price, she's on another board as well. You would have access to the Parks and Recreation Board, very similar as well. Works in the same format. Okay, so let me get out of this. And we'll let Melinda have that. It's already been announced.
So on the summer program, we're getting ready for that. It's in less than a month away. And we will kick off, I think you guys have the flyer, with the summer kickoff party, the one with the shades. That will be on June 4th at 1 o'clock. And at that point, we'll have jumpers. Someone has volunteered to cook hot dogs, snow cones, water slides, and just a whole bunch of things for the kids to kick off our summer program. Our summer program will run from June 4th through June 28th for the month of June, July 2nd through July 26th for the month of July. We are still charging $25 per person per session. Our theme this year, picked by the kids, was sports and fitness, in which we will also still have science, gym, arts and crafts, baking and cooking. I have special entertainers. If you'll notice on this rough draft of my program, on Tuesdays I have special guests coming in. We have the Magician, Explore Museum, I have the Police Department, Bricks for Kids, Science Spectrum, a photo booth, football cheer coaches, and the Fire Department. So those are some of the things we'll do on Tuesdays, and Mondays we'll have a STEM day at 11. Wednesdays we do CrossFit, and Thursdays you have another flyer with you. We have partnered up with the Lee County Extension Office, and they will come in on Thursday mornings, and they will be teaching that class, Just Be It. And it will just be a variety of things that they'll go over with the kids. And so that will be taught by volunteers that they're going to hire. They received a grant for that. And so we're looking forward to partnering up with them on that. We also have the summer program, lunch program will be coming in at 11:45 for lunch. And I think that's about it. And so we'll have a different theme every week that we'll go over. We're trying to partner up with some of the coaches, like the basketball coach approached me and wants to see about some of the kids from the youth center going to his camp for basketball. So we're working, and I've touched base with the volleyball coach. And so we will be working on that stuff and details. We'll get out the details on that. That's pretty much my summer camp.
So I was gonna ask, like on that, for like the kids, the ages, what activities like for the high school, 9 through 12, will we have for the summer program for them?
Okay, so from 9 a.m. to 1:30, that's for my pre-K through 5th graders, and that's mainly the morning session. For the afternoon session, last year we had some kids, but it was mainly kids that came in and helped me in the mornings, and so in the afternoons, we did some of the stuff that we did in the mornings, but like in a higher level. And then we went to the movies and we went swimming and we did different things like that in the afternoon. So I am going to push that for the older kids. I don't have my flyer. I was working on that this week. But to push to try to get some of the older kids in here and show that we do have stuff planned for them.
Oh, that's awesome. Anybody else got anything to add to that or ask about?
Are your youth council members, are they gonna be helping too?
Yes.
How many of those do you have?
There's about 10 right now.
What's their age group? I mean, what's?
They range anywhere from, I think I have a couple of 10-year-olds up to, I think there's like sophomores.
Okay, well, I've got a question, I guess, then for James. Our ordinance says that the youth council members have to be 13 to 18.
Yeah. We can handle that two ways. I mean, one, I think we do need to go through and look at that ordinance. I think some of the language probably should be updated. Granted, we have them, youth council members are 13. How that would affect is, one, if the youth council were to vote on anything, anybody who is participating with the youth council wouldn't have an official vote. However, I also look at it, I would hate to discourage a 10-year-old wanting to volunteer their time.
Well, I understand that too.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can look at leaving it as is and letting them have an opinion, but they wouldn't actually have an official vote. And I think that might be why that the 13-year-old age came up in that ordinance.
Well, I know the youth council, they keep a record of their hours, and that helps them with their college, when they get ready to go to college, showing their community service time.
I have kids coming in as young as 3rd, 4th grade because their teacher sends them out to do community service, and keep track of their hours. So as far as keeping track of their hours, we keep track of their hours. We note them, we document them. The kids want to help. They want to help clean up, whatever it is we're doing, they want to be a part of it. So I don't like to say no to them, so we let them be a part of whatever it is we're doing there at the youth center.
Yeah, I understand that. I just know that we're supposed to go by what the ordinance says, and that's why I had the question.
Can I? And I think it's probably so old that it probably goes back to when we used to have Taylor Junior High and Central Junior High. And most of the kids that attended that were 7th graders, and by the 7th grade, you're 13 years old. But now that we have 6th graders that are probably 10 and 11-year-olds, and those are the ones you're saying about community service and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, I have 2nd graders, I have kindergartners, I have all these kids that want to help. They see the other kids helping, whether it be stacking chairs, getting ready for a party, putting stuff up, getting the gym ready, whatever it is, they want to be a part of it and they want to help. And so I'm like, okay, let's write your name down. We keep track of their hours. I said, you're keeping track of your volunteer hours is always a good thing. We have church members. that come, that have to do community service, as low as kindergartners or whatever for the first communion. I let them do the community service. They don't become council members, but they come in and help.
So-
I don't ever turn kids away.
So they feel involved.
Yes.
Well, and that's what I was trying to make the point. So there's a difference between actual youth council members and people, and kids you let come in and do community service.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Have your flyers gone to the printer yet? They're all printed up?
No, that's still a rough draft.
Okay, Templeman is one word
Okay.
on the back. I just noticed that, so.
Yes, it's still a rough draft.
Autocorrect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hey,
Hey, and Linda, the other question I have, you always do a good job to get the word out to our kids. How are you gonna get this out to our kids?
This is what I'm sending to the schools, and I think I've already sent out a round of them, and so I'm gonna wait till the end of this week and send another with the registration on the back. This is what I'll give them when they come in. That way they kind of have it's a schedule for parents to know what's going on, and what their kid will be doing at what time and what day they're doing stuff. So this is something I'll give out when they register, and this is something I'll get out to the schools. And it's posted all over Facebook and all over the city.
And somebody's still gonna say they didn't see it.
Oh, I know.
And I was gonna ask also, how are you looking as far as our summer help to help you out at the center with the kids? Are we looking?
If you notice on the back, I've hired 4 assistants so far.
Here it is. Sorry about that. I guess I need to read. And you think that'll be enough to give you a helping hand?
I'm shorthanded a part-timer, and so I just need one more position filled. But I think that'll be, plus I have a lot of kids that are volunteering already. The Lake County Extension is going to interview and hire someone they're gonna give out incentives for the kids that will be teaching that Just Be It class. And we hope to keep them for the rest of the week.
That's good. That is awesome.
So that's what's going on with the summer, and everybody's invited to come out for our kickoff. There will be hot dogs and snow cones and all kinds of stuff for the kids. Any more questions on summer?
It's done.
Okay, the next one is a STEM lab that I've been working a grant on. Probably since I started, I've been working with JF Maddox Foundation on trying to get us computers at the youth center. I started this right as soon as I started, so about 1.5 years ago, and it's been that long in the making. So finally got word a couple weeks ago that we did get approved for a STEM lab. These are some of the things, and it's also on the sheet because I know it's hard to read. Oh no, maybe it's not. Some of the things we've requested, some of the stuff in red is something that they are not going to allow, but and so some of the things we're getting is some computers, some Apple computers.
It's actually not on there.
Okay, that's what I was looking through. I didn't think we had it in there.
If you are logged in, there's a copy of this presentation in the board packet.
The programming presentation.
Yes.
Some of the stuff I requested was some 5 Apple computers, 5 Lenovo computers, an extra gaming computer, office program for all of the above, monitors, a 3D printer, makey programs, little bits, STEM set, regular printers, a GoPro, a drone, a projector, screen, computer desk, chairs, and then set up with the network. Those are some of the stuff I requested. They came back and added a couple more things. So they added the filament for the 3D printer, they added some iPads, cases, a different kind of camera, memory cards, stabilizer and tripod, studio lighting, router, projector card, and they would also like for us to upgrade the room in which the computers would go in. They were not. So the total grant they are allowing is $35,000.
Were you able to go back and talk to them about Photoshop? I know you had mentioned that. No,
No.
it's going to stay out.
I haven't really talked to them about it.
That's pretty awesome to get that grant. You know, how soon will we start on that project?
Well, funny thing. So there's a couple of different things that we got to talk about. So all we're waiting on, honestly, is the agreement. We did talk with correspond with Maddox Foundation today. We're hoping to get the agreement to approve Monday. However, if we don't have word if we'll get the agreement by tomorrow, it'll just get put off to the May 29th meeting. So a lot of this, it's a paperwork issue. And I believe the format of the grant is basically it's we purchase, we get reimbursed. So we will make an adjustment in the budget to account for the expenditures versus also the incoming revenue on this, but really as soon as possible. I know Melinda's been raring to go, and I got to hand this to her. She's really been put through the ringer on this one because she'd send it in, they'd want more questions, send it in, want more questions. She's done a very good job as far as answering those questions and put together a really good program. It's more than just high-tech wizardry, if you want to call it that. It's tools at the disposal, and it's more than just a place to go and do your homework. It's focused, and she'll go over the schedule here in a little bit and the programming, but it's really designed to inspire students to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. They're going to be learning without realizing it. I mean, everybody wants to play with a drone, but what are the real life applications? Everybody wants to do the little bits, which I don't know if you are familiar with. It's a little bits kit. They build gizmos with it. Matter of fact, my wife's Girl Scout group, that's one of the things that they do is they all got a little bits kit, and you can build almost anything. I mean, from a burglar alarm to a robot, it's remarkable what these things can do. But it's going to be a good program, and you know, part of it is she's working with the foundation to create the rubric to make sure that we're getting those educational components in, especially on how to measure the outcomes of the program. That's one of those things. It's more than just, well, we did this, we built robots, but what did they learn, and also are we seeing an improvement at home or in school? So we're coming up with different ideas as far as how are we actually going to measure it, other than just a survey. Did you learn anything? I mean, whether it's the parents sign a release or if they agree to participate in this program. And that's one thing Melinda brought up, is we want to make sure the parents are involved as well. But bring us your report card, and at the end of 9 weeks, we look and see, did your scores in math and science improve? Did your GPA come up? We also have to have, as with any asset, these are some non-capital assets, but a replacement plan. And that's one thing Maddox wanted us to make sure, is that we guarantee that we would replace these things. Which that's, you know, that's an easy thing. Some of the computer is really some of the hardest stuff to have to replace. However, I know that the Lenovo brand computers, that's a Windows operating system. That's a very good computer. I mean, it's one of the higher end computers. Don't have a lot of issues as long as we just make sure we keep them updated. The Apple brand, I had an Apple computer that I owned for 10 years and I just barely had to replace it. They're making these things a little bit more durable. So just making sure that we put in the budget for some replacement, you know, upkeep, but also replacement if needed at the end of 5 years. Melinda put up their director proof, and that's one of the things that they want to make sure is this is a sustainable program, and that if, in the unlikely event Melinda leaves us, will we continue the program? And of course we will. So it wouldn't be Melinda, but we don't anticipate her leaving. We're making her. We may even make her sign a contract for it. It's a 99-year contract. So, but also making sure that we've got community support. Those are some of the other things. And I think that, we've got a great head of steam, no pun intended, with community support for the youth center. It's very well supported. Yes, we want to see more usage, but with increased usage, that means we got to spend more money as far as staff. But I think we've got the community behind it, and one of the things we want to make sure, as far as a sustainable program, is that these kids are going to have to realize that this isn't just, it's a commitment. In order to do the program, it's just not show up when I have nothing else to do. It's an actual commitment that they make. Go ahead,
And so part of the grant was I come up with a schedule of how we would be using the computers, and that's what you have here in front of you with the color. This is something I came up with help through the New Mexico Out of School Time Network. They will be helping, they are offering different courses through Explorer that the staff, my staff and I will be attending different workshops for the coding, for makey, photography classes. I have a couple of photographers on board to help us. And so we have a team ready to go and get this going.
Will
Teach these classes.
you be getting with like the science teachers at the schools to see if you can integrate some of this in with what they're teaching, so that they're doing one thing in October, November, you're not planning it in May, June, or vice versa.
Yes,
We're
it's something
coordinating kind of within,
Mhm.
and maybe seeing if they want to get involved with any of it also.
Yes, we can. It'll also be open for homework help. We have lots of kids that come in and don't have computers or don't have access to Wi-Fi, and so they will also be able to use that. I have tutoring that we use. Right now they come in and bring their own personal computers, or we have a couple of computers we have there that we use for them to do their tutoring with, and so there will also be access for that.
Will it be like a time limit on it, or
Yes.
they're just gonna stay?
No, the class, we're gonna stick to this class
or just
schedule
stick to this?
and use them for what we were granted.
Hello.
Are you gonna see about maybe getting a robotics team put together to do competitions?
Yes.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
have, we're looking into that.
Okay.
Thinking outside the box, that's really good.
There's already robotics.
It's a good thing. Sorry, it's a good timing for this because our high school, for next year, we're definitely offering classes of drones, coding. I mean, all that stuff is it's current stuff.
This, when I went to, so I did get to go to Washington, and New Mexico Out of School Time paid for me to go, and it was really great. And so the emphasis is on STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, math, and after school. And because sometimes you can't offer it at the schools because, there's different restrictions. After school, we can offer it then. And so we team up with our local city, the chamber, and try to find, some of these kids may not go to college or do not want to go to college, so let's teach them something else that they might be able to make money, make a living out of. And so I found out through visiting some of our representatives in Washington, like the two labs, Sandia and Los Alamos, they need 5,000 people between now and 2020. And how are you going to fill those positions? And so they're saying that that's where they're going, is to the after-school programs and their STEM classes.
I'm excited.
So those robotics that you were able to get when you used to work for the library? I think you had some Lego, I can't remember the word. It's been a while. You were
Little
able
bits,
yeah,
So Explorer Museum is who started us on that when we brought them to the library.
okay.
And they're actually the ones that where we're going to for our coding class and for our making class in a little bit. And they also, I brought them last year and I'm bringing them again this year. I think the library brings them too. But they're the ones that focus on STEM, but not really like using all the different technology, but just STEM out of everyday things we use at home, recycled stuff. And that's their emphasis, but they also teach the different code. They're teaching the code for New Mexico out of school time.
So do you think the time limit, the time that you have here, like from 5 to 5:30, I guess you have them like every 30 minutes increments?
I think for that age group, if you look at it's K through 3, and you really they don't have a long attention span, so we kind of went with that. I mean, this, well, I'm sure it's going to change once we get there and see that they need more time doing this, or they need less time. But I just started out with 30 minutes just because of their attention span and what I see them at the youth center. And it also allowed stuff in the evenings for the older kids. And so the older kids will be offering, that's where we'll be offering the Photoshop and the videography, the drone, free explore, and then the robotics.
Good ideas. Very good. Anybody else got anything on that? All right. I've got one thing, and it's not really pertaining to this, because that's an excellent program you put together. I might have to come down and get educated. Sounds exciting, you know, I'll be a kid again. But no, I was just concerned about, you know, the recent, you know, some of the kids at the youth center that had some vandalism. You don't have that van window broken out and stuff like that. No respect. Kids don't have any respect for that. And I was just wondering, maybe, James, if we could possibly just store that thing down at the police pound yard, and if we needed it, we could get it and just to protect it better.
It was stored back here for a long time, and then because we use it, like, oh, let's go to the movies or different things, we had it over there, and it was fine until I parked it real close up to the thing and to the sidewalk.
Because there's nothing really in it for them to steal. They just want to destroy property. And that's, you know, I just thought maybe, you know, that might be a suggestion if we wanted to just move it and not leave it there.
Well, and as she said, you know, it's not really being used on a routine schedule. It's just one of those things that comes up. So really, I mean, it's Melinda's call as far as where to store it. And I know that, I mean, we can definitely talk about it. But I know that just because of the random uses, I don't know if that would just create more issues. And if for instance, we have somebody who may be sick or, you know, call in sick or something like that, we can't leave all those kids down there by themselves with one person or one adult
No,
while another person goes and gets the vehicle. But we can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, it's been over there for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it over there for a year, and I parked it in the back, I parked it in the side, I parked it different places, just wherever we happen to. And just that, it was a couple of weeks, it was parked right there by the sidewalk. And we came in the weekend and it was.
Did you ever get the cameras for the outside of the building? I know you have cameras inside, but.
Not yet. It's, that is, we actually, it's an issue of building construction. As far as trying to run live feeds outside, it's proven to be quite troublesome. And the one camera that we had out on the basketball court, something, we don't know if there was a surge or something that knocked out that camera. So it's not been forgotten about, but
that system doesn't work with like wireless cameras?
it surely does not. And
Would be great
trust-
idea.
you know, to be honest, with wireless systems, they're not truly wireless. I don't,
Well, I know they have to have power,
they
but
gotta
the
have that
signal,
stinking power, but no, that's just because we did look at wireless. But because of the type of construction, the amount of glass in that building, we sometimes have inconsistent wireless signals. So that's why we went with a hardwired system as well. I know from personal experience, I haven't had too much good luck with a wireless-based system. I've only found one small system that works, but still it requires a power source. They don't have like the pan, tilt, and zoom.
yeah, well,
You
we've
lose
got
a
two
lot of those
systems at the
features,
house, so
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah, I'm using a Samsung. It's great, but you have some limitations, especially with that facility with it being so large. We don't have wireless, that's the other thing too, is we don't have wireless coverage throughout the whole building. Yeah, and matter of fact, one wireless router was located in Melinda's office, and in order for us to get an adequate signal, we had to put a range extender in the snack room, which is, what, 30 feet away?
Yeah.
So we
that's
have two range
Yeah.
extenders in the
That's
snack
no
room.
good.
Yeah, and it's because of building construction, and I never thought about it, but even we have the same issue over at our Chamber of Commerce building. The amount of glass in that building, it creates issues. No, Mara's having problems right now. But we are working on trying to get
Well,
some
if we could
exterior
get one
coverage.
outside of where it was a certain spot of that park, at least you would see who done it to it.
Mhm.
Well, if there's anything else, any of y'all have anything else you need to add to the meeting? Or that you want to bring up? I did just have one more thing, and then my mouth will be closed for a little bit. But I was just wondering, I would like to meet our youth council. I have never met the young people, and was wondering if there's any way we could, maybe have a meeting down there with them, probably once when we meet, just so we could meet them and kind of tour the center ourselves, see what's going on with the kids.
You know what,
That's been
actually, I
awesome.
want to say it
It's been
was it last May? We actually had that meeting down there, and we'd all kind of informally agreed at least once a year. We would have a meeting down there in the facility so everybody could see it, so.
Yeah.
And like I say, just to get to meet
Sure.
young people, if they might have something they want to throw in and say, hey, we need this,
Uh-huh.
and we can listen to them. That would be awesome.
Let them know that they do have a voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But overall, that young lady, you're doing an excellent job. Just keep it up, just keep smiling, no matter what comes your way.
I did have one question. Somebody asked me the other day if you rented out the gym, and I told them it used to not be rented out, but I didn't know that I would ask you.
Yes, so they can rent out the dance floor or the gym.
Okay, and what kind of activities can they have in the gym?
Gym activities. We've had parties in there.
Okay, because I know it used to be with that floor, they didn't want any food or tables or chairs or anything on that rubberized floor.
We've had tables and chairs out there.
So you can have food in there.
I mean, you clean it up. I mean, the
Well,
floor is
yeah.
already tore up, and we've done the best we can.
There's no hope for that one.
One of the ladies I hired has really helped us, showed us how to maintain the floor and use the dust mop the right way. Was it need to be used the right way? So we're really keeping up with maintaining our floors and the gym floor. And it's good. The
That's awesome.
basketball players are not griping at me anymore because they're slipping and sliding. Now they have some grip. So they can use the snack bar, the gym, or the dance floor, or all three, for $95 an hour.
Anyone
$95 an hour for all three even, or?
For how long? You say?
$95.
For the evening?
Mhm.
Okay.
For now.
Usually,
Sorry to hear.
Saturday and Sunday is what we rent.
That's not bad. Every little bit helps.
Do you have a deposit?
$100.
And we give that back when they polish it up for us.
And you said it's 95 per hour?
Yes.
And we based that off of, it was like a year and a half ago, I think we set those rates, and that's just based off of what it actually costs us to operate that center per hour. Utilities, factoring in supplies, staffing, all of that, so recoup. And we don't run into any of the anti-donation issues. Now, if they're like a nonprofit that is focused on youth, we charge a deposit, but we don't. So we don't charge them the hourly rate. So we have the or if it's a youth base, for instance, like the school
The prom.
awards banquet,
Yeah.
the prom, we don't charge for that. But if somebody wants to rent it for a private party, or if a business wants to come in and utilize the youth center to put on a training program, which I don't think we've had any of those, they would actually have to be charged that. But as far as youth oriented, and as long as they aren't charging a fee for admission, we don't charge that amount.
Are there any youth groups using it for meeting place right now?
The Ironman football, basketball team has their board meetings, soccer has their board meetings, and Booster Club.
But as far as any kids groups, like any Boy Scouts, Girl
No.
Scouts, 4-H?
Know that when they
So
So
tried
they're the
last
same now.
No.
No, let's don't go there.
You mean the scouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Scouts.
Sorry, my opinion showed that
Yeah.
on that.
They will always be Boy Scouts to me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're a mixed group now.
Explorers
Yeah.
for the mixed groups, right, James?
Yeah. No, we don't. Well, and I know one thing that we've started doing, like baseball and football and soccer signups, we've encouraged them instead of using the chamber, we push them down there to the youth center.
That's good, because that gives them more exposure.
Exactly, yes.
And that's where those activities need to be taking place.
That's good.
One thing that we are looking at is the back basketball court. We're getting some estimates. We want to go ahead and see about grinding some of the rough spots out, but then doing an IPR treatment on it so we can resurface those courts. So we're looking at a couple of facility parking lots, but that's one of the priorities we have.
IPR being what you're doing to the
same,
roads.
the same stuff that we're doing to the roads. It seals it. That
Yeah.
way we don't get cracks and moisture down and create more holes and
Right.
stuff like that. So.
Well, then I guess I have a parking record question then. When do they get new basketball goals? If you
Yeah,
do
no,
that,
that's
then
part of. We're waiting to see what these figures come in to see. And as far as new basketball goals, those are.
Because I know you said we had to wait till the lot was fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it needs to be fenced also, at least
Yeah.
the part where they play basketball. Because
That
even
may
when we
come
play
over.
football on the grass, it's still kind of scary. Because the cars do speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just waiting on the quotes to come in, or the quote to come in on refinishing that. And basically it'll be remove the old ones and then have it sealed and drop the new ones in. Yeah.
And I did hear a lot of good results on another subject on the junior and senior prom. I hear it was a very good turnout at the center, so that's awesome. That always makes the kids happy, makes the parents happy. They're in a safe place. That's a very good thing.
I just keep wondering when they're gonna phase out prom, because these kids don't dance anymore. They don't come to dances, so it's
No,
like.
they don't.
They'll keep it going just because people like dressing up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's been for us the last.
But other than
Get out
that,
pretty.
I don't know if there's anything else, if anybody else has anything to add to this sector. If not, going once, going twice, meeting is adjourned. That means it's supper time.